delve into the WTC1 and WTC2 destruction, but as we mentioned earlier, the three skyscrapers that were completely destroyed on that day include WTC7, Building 7, which, again, many people have heard of who are involved in the 9/11 Truth Movement, but still a surprising number of people may not even know the existence of, let alone that there are any questions about its destruction. In an attempt to correct that record in a highly scientific way, I know architects and engineers from 9/11 Truth have been promoting and helping along with the University of Alaska Fairbanks doing an independent inquiry into that has resulted in a final report that was released this past March. Perhaps unfortunate timing because obviously news events have overshadowed that particular story, but it is time to reflect on this and what it really means. Obviously, as we approach the 19th anniversary of 9/11, people will remember that I did talk about this study from the University of Alaska Fairbanks back when they issued their preliminary report last September in a Propaganda Watch video I did called When is the News Not the News, talking about people not talking about this study. But let's talk about the latest, and I'll post up the link to ae911truth.org/WTC7, where people can find a direct link to this final report from the University of Alaska Fairbanks. Tell us a little bit about this report, where it came from, and what it concluded.
Yes, one of our supporters convinced after a third try the chairman of the Department of Civil Engineering at the University of Alaska in Fairbanks. That was like 4.5 years ago. Well, he spent the last 4 years developing this finite element analysis. This is a major study. And it's very exciting for us because this is on Building 7. Now, the third tower that came down, for those who don't know, here's a 47-story skyscraper, about 100 yards from the North Tower. It was built in 1986 or so, and it was then made part of the World Trade Center complex. Larry Silverstein developed it. And here we at 5:20 in the afternoon, after witnesses hear explosions, this building drops like a rock straight down, uniformly, suddenly, symmetrically, into its own footprint in under 7 seconds. Just like the old hotels in Las Vegas. This falls as fast as a bowling ball falling out of the sky. So it's obvious to most everybody who sees it that this is a controlled demolition, right? It looks just like the old hotels in Las Vegas. Well, we find through going around to conferences around the country, dozens and dozens of them, maybe 100 by now, that most architects and engineers know nothing about the third worst structural failure in modern history, after the Twin Towers. This is an extraordinary secret. The American Institute of Architects, of which I'm a member of, one of 80,000, we never got one bulletin on the destruction of this building. The fact that it came down due to normal office fires, according to NIST, the National Institute of Standards and Technology, who was tasked with explaining this collapse to the American people. And they have this elaborate explanation of how this fire caused expansion of these beams, pushing this girder off of its seat on this one column 79, and then that girder falls off that column, and that floor falls on the next one in a progressive collapse for 9 floors, keeping this column unbraced, making this column unbraced, and finally it buckles, and then there's this instability that travels all the way to the roof of this building, and then laterally across the building in 6 seconds before the whole building falls down. Well, none at once. None of that could have happened for a whole variety of reasons, many of which the University of Alaska has completely disproven those assumptions and theories of NIST. The conclusion from the study in Alaska is that the building could only have come down, like we see in all the videos, and there's 11 videos of this building's collapse, by the simultaneous removal of all the columns in the building over about a second. So, what is that? I mean, what in the heck can do that? Only controlled demolition can do that. And of course, that doesn't happen in an afternoon by a group of people going into a burning building and setting up explosives. No, and these fires, by the way, were only few and small and scattered. And no office fire has ever brought down a skyscraper, steel framed skyscraper. So, and here we've got, this incredible 130-page study that they're now working on a peer-reviewed paper. And we've sent this study to the final report now to 200 out of the 400 we intend to, and top engineering associations and universities and firms in the world. So this is going to make waves too. And yeah, you got that right. Timing was most unfortunate for us because COVID-19 came along with its suspect origins and manipulated solutions. So we have, which you've been covering very nicely, that's outside of our scope, but we're not naive to what's going on in the world. In fact, we encourage people to not believe anything you see in the mainstream media about this situation, but do your own research. Watch, for instance, the Corbett report, which is about getting underneath the propaganda and looking at what's really going on.
Indeed, and WTC 7, again, will not be a subject that is unfamiliar to my regular viewers. I've talked about it since NIST issued their original report way back in 2008, and on that...
That's just a brief clip of Justice Rising on the 9/11 Truth, Richard Gage on the Corbett report. You can watch the whole thing, which is about 38 minutes long, on YouTube. And thanks for watching it here, my highly sophisticated camera pointed at a TV video. Thank you.